Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kuda Mangwe, and I am a digital marketing strategist and all around social commentator on a lot of subjects that I'm passionate about. And I'm not particularly wanting to start a YouTube channel as much as I just want to get my voice and opinion heard on a number of things that I keep seeing around, and I keep saying to myself, I should say something, I want to say something, but just never got around to doing it. And I guess this is me now doing it. And so you'll see a number of videos that I'm going to produce with this shirt on, because I'm probably going to do it back to back to back right now. And it's just a number of things, like I said, that's really bugging me that I just want to get out into the atmosphere. And the first thing is a subculture that I've seen in the world today that is like totally ruining our communities, our children, our politicians, our leaders, our ability to express ourselves freely, our ability to be able to debate, challenge, and grow together as a global community. And that subculture has ruined conversations on gender, conversations on race. It has contributed to the slowing down drastically of progress in many areas. And I know you're dying for me to say what the hell it is already. So I'm going to say it. It's hypersensitivity. And hypersensitivity, when you look at it from the psychology definition, is just basically described as emotional fragility or extreme emotional fragility, which basically means someone who is easily offended or is easily put into a bad place. The definition that I got said that one co-worker who you know you don't want to talk to because any little thing you say will end up being a case that's going to be dealt with by HR. You know, that person who's just easily sensitized, who's overly sensitized and easily triggered off by something. And the reason why I blame this subculture, which we often never discuss as being a major problem, is because it is actually, if you think about it, the single source of most of the issues we have in our inability to come to not necessarily agreement, but just to be able to have a normal civilized conversation about anything. So, for example, when it comes to race relations, the simple words of hashtag Black Lives Matter. Now, I'm not saying I'm pro Black Lives Matter or anti Black Lives Matter. I'm merely pointing out the fact that in most cases, the single issue, like the prominent issue at the start that people had with Black Lives Matter was simply just the name, right? And the reason why people had a problem with the name was because this culture of hypersensitivity has taught us that if you don't act on the initial impulse of something is wrong here, I should be offended by this, or we can't let things get out of hand with this, or we can't let this get out of control, you're going to have a problem. And so hypersensitivity tells you that you have to get emotional about something, even though you could, as a grown-up, just get over it or understand where people are coming from, etc. And something that I've seen a lot is when you have you see this a lot when you're having these debates when you see these debates on CNN, with like a white cop versus like a black activist, and the white cop says something that is factual. And because hypersensitivity has taught us that we need to blow up, you see that black activist losing all his intellect and going off. A case in point is when Mark Lamont Hill was on Don Lemon's show with that former NYPD police officer who said something along the lines of, well, first of all, he blurted out a lot of factual statistics. You know, he brought a lot of statistics of how black people are and their relationship with the law. How a lot of them, a lot of us are incarcerated. How a lot of us, commit crimes in this certain level against these certain people, etc., etc. And you're trying to use this as a way of justifying, why police officers in the United States are trigger happy around black people. But he also used this as an example of, but not use it as an example, but then he also then went on to say something along the lines that black people are just prone to being criminals. And Mark Lamont Hill blew up at that, right? He lost it. And he kept on saying, I'm going to give you one chance to take that back. Please, 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 I'm giving you one chance to take that back. And he totally just lost his ability to remain calm in that situation and just be able to have a rational conversation. And that, I feel, is due to hypersensitivity. The culture of hypersensitivity told him he can't just brush off an ignorant statement. He's got to get animated about it. He's got to go off. He's got to get loud. He's got to get flamboyant. And as a result, the whole conversation died off. The way I would have responded to that is, first of all, I would have said something along the lines of, well, I'm not even going to, acknowledge what you've just said to say that black people are prone to being criminal. I think you're just saying that to be sensational or radical, whatever it is. I don't think it's true. However, the statistics that you pointed out, that a lot of black people are incarcerated and a lot of black people are imprisoned, etc., etc., I actually thank you for bringing out the statistics. Now, I'm not going to go into why those people are in prison, because that's a conversation for another time. I'm also not going to deny the fact that there are some internal issues that the black community need to look at, but that's not what we're going to go into, because that's not what we're discussing. But when you bring out statistics of black people being incarcerated, what it does show in the context of this conversation is that police officers are capable of doing their job without killing black people. For every black person who is in jail, it is a representation of a police officer who has managed to complete their job without having to kill that person. So if you're going to talk about statistics of people being in jail, thank you, because it proves our point that police officers have the capacity to not kill black people and actually do their jobs. You see, without being hypersensitive, you have taken that situation and empowered yourself by a typical tactic that people who want to throw the conversation off its wheels use, which is to bring in statistics that try and prove whatever point they're trying to get that is away from the conversation at hand. But if you're going to be hypersensitive, you're not going to be able to have that conversation properly. Another place where you see hypersensitivity being an issue is with gender issues. But I'm going to get into that in my next video. But I just thought, this culture of hypersensitivity, the one that teaches us to be emotional and react without actually being able to sit back and just take things at face value and not overly internalize it, has ruined our communities. We are not able to function as people because of hypersensitivity. And what you're actually now teaching our children and our future generations is that it is okay to not be calm and rational about dealing with situations, but rather if you feel it is your right to be hypersensitive in this moment, you are by all means entitled to throw away all progress and let it go on. Another example that I saw was there was this debate that